Okay, so this video, I'm going to show you all of the reasons why I would never buy another Mazda. Okay, so first of all, let's look at how long it takes for the infotainment center to go. Okay, so press the button. I realize now the watch is not in focus, but we hit the start button at about the 14 to 15 second mark into this video. I'll bring up the soundtrack of the original video in just a bit so that you can see that it took over a minute for the infotainment system to boot up and play the first song. The infotainment system also will just randomly reboot while I'm driving, and sometimes the screen just randomly goes dark when I'm driving. When the car was brand new in July of 2021, Tuttle Click Mazda in Irvine tried to tell us that it was our thumb drive that was making the system go so slow, which led me on a wild goose chase of purchasing 3 different brand name thumb drives, trying all of them. Nothing made it work any better. In December of 21, they put me through the second software update. I'm going to stop narrating so you can hear this finally come in. Okay, so there we go. Here is another attempt with a brand new thumb drive. Okay, press the start button. And just to demonstrate how poor this system is, this thumb drive has one single song on it. And it does boot up just a little bit faster this time, but it always takes somewhere between 30 seconds to a minute 20 for the system to boot up, which is just unacceptable for a new car, that you should have to wait that long to listen to your music or punch in your directions. I'll get back to my story of what Mazda put me through. First, I want you to hear this come in, and then I'm going to show you the brakes. All right, and then once you finally get the infotainment center going, you get to deal with the squeaky brakes. Sorry neighbors, no, it's not that I can't afford to get a brake job. It's actually a brand new car, and Mazda just told me that that's the best their engineers can do. Although first they wanted to play games and say there was no problem, they couldn't duplicate the issue. Then I told them to keep it overnight. Oh, then they could duplicate the issue. So Mazda just wants me to accept that the brakes are going to squeak until they warm up, and that I just have to live with it. Okay, press the talk button.
Say a command.
Address.
At any time, voice guidance can be skipped by pressing the talk button.
Press it again.
Or canceled by pressing the hang up button.
Address.
Say the full address, including number, street, city, and state.
25410 Marguerite Parkway, Mission Viejo. In July of 2022, Tuttle Click Mazda finally admitted that there's a problem with the infotainment system, which they call the ghost issue. So, I'm going to try, I don't know what to try.
Say your command again.
Okay, let's try the address, a different address. 26851 Trabuco Road, Mission Viejo, California. So in July of 2022, Tuttle Click had me bring the car in, and that's when I discovered just how bad their service is.
Can be skipped by pressing the talk button or canceled by pressing the hang up button.
So at this point, you're going to get frustrated.
For example, say 123 Main Street,
and pull over,
Michigan. Do not include the zip code.
And have to enter in your address manually. So we're going to find a safe place to do that, which you can't always do. And I'll be back. Let me just catch up here verbally before I show you the remaining issues. When I brought the car in July of 22, they said you need to bring it in. We're going to fill out paperwork. We're going to get this fixed for you. I show up. They say, okay, you can take off. I said, well, what about, don't we need to do some paperwork? And I thought this was really suspicious, and they said no. And I said, then why did I come in? And they said, oh, well, the parent company, Mazda, wouldn't take us serious unless you were here. But we will get back to you within 3 business days, we promise. 15 business days later, I still had not heard from them, so I had to call again. I received more promises that they were going to get this fixed, that they were going to stay in contact with me. I'm making this video the beginning of October 2022. About 30 days ago, I reached out to Tuttle Click Mazda in Irvine, and I asked that they please send me an email assuring me that they were going to work on this issue. I have not received the courtesy of an email nor even a phone call to assure me that they were going to do anything for me. I'm going to resume here where we've entered in directions. First, I want to explain that the reason we had to pull over to enter the directions is Mazda won't let you enter direction while the car is in motion, maybe a safety feature, but why can't the passenger enter directions after maybe hitting an OK, I won't enter directions as I'm driving button? So here's another little gem about this system is once you enter in the address, that's not enough. You have to click navigate to. That's not enough. I guess you could wait 10 seconds or you have to click it again. This next one defies all common sense. It's so frustrating, you could almost call it dangerous. So you're in an unfamiliar area going to an unfamiliar address. You get close to that address, but you pass it, like happens so many times you're probably going to have to flip a U-turn. But no, Mazda's infotainment center decides to just dump the directions, assuming that you made it there safely. Where in reality, you probably got to pull over in what could be a dangerous neighborhood and re-enter in the directions. So pay attention here when the video comes up. You'll see the little checkered flag letting you know that you're getting close to your destination. And then as soon as Mazda determines that you're close enough, it just dumps the directions. I wanted to try a few more things here just to be overly fair. In this video footage, the SD card has been removed, which is basically the information for the navigation system. And since most people use their phones, I decided I would go ahead and use my wife's phone on Bluetooth, using her phone because it's the newest one, and it only has 2 songs on it. So with no navigation, no SD card installed, in other words, and a newer iPhone with only 2 songs on it, it still took 40 seconds for the system to boot up and play the first song. So I tried about every combination you can imagine, with the card, without the card, with the USB, without USB, hardwiring the phone. Nothing really seemed to matter. This time, just for example, the SD card is back in, but the phone is hardwired, and it still takes about 40 seconds. I should also note that if all you're after is the nav, that always takes at least 50 seconds before you could put in your first address when first starting up the car. And here's the last bit of Mazda genius for you. As a forced safety feature, the windows go down about an inch when you operate the convertible top. And this doesn't matter whether the windows were all the way up when you started, whether you tried to raise them all the way up. That's how it always finishes, is with the windows down a little bit. So why do you put the top up? Because the rain's coming. Could they give you some kind of warning if they're going to do that? That, hey, beep, 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 your windows are down? No, not even that courtesy.